Welcome to the Lab Report, a new segment of the podcast where we briefly discuss a piece of software or hardware that we've been using a lot lately. I should let you know that in case you've been listening, this segment of the podcast is also available on YouTube as a video on our YouTube page in case you want to follow along and see the software that we're working with. Just search for the Lab Science Podcast on YouTube for that. I think it's really fitting, since we're talking about beating writer's block, to discuss this next piece of software, and that's Arturia's Analog Lab. Analog Lab is a part of the V collection from Arturia, and that's a collection of some of the best vintage keyboards, organs, and synthesizer sounds that you'll find. Everything from the CS80 emulations to Rhodes and Wurlitzer sounds to a modular synthesizer layout for you to use. So I'm a big fan of it just because it gives you a lot of variety, but I think the way that they've improved on the user interface and the layout really helps you avoid writer's block or get out of it if you're already in it. So right out the bat, if you're watching on our YouTube video, you'll notice that you walk into kind of a virtual studio that has all of your keyboards and things laid out. And you can click each little individual keyboard, get a basic description on what that keyboard emulates, and then you can browse presets from that keyboard only. So it's kind of the software equivalent of walking into your room and saying, well, hell, what the hell do I work with? Everything is loaded up already. Let me just kind of turn this on and see what it does. Also, right out of the bat, you'll notice that all the instruments have, or all the presets, I should say, have macros pre-assigned. And these change based on what sound you're working with. If you notice, I'm scrolling through some of these mini patches. And the macros at the bottom change based on what we have loaded up. So in this bells patch, I have a cutoff. Things like LFO rate. And if you have an Arturia keyboard, these obviously come pre-mapped. If you're using live, you can use the configure option to assign these to macros. So just hit configure there and then twist whatever you want. And then you'll be able to use your controller like a push or an EPC40 to control these same macros. Okay, so right out the bat, you have a bunch of keyboards laid out that have knobs and faders automatically assigned. Absolutely great for beating writer's block. All right. But one of the things that I really think they got right is the browser. And the browser engine that we have here, again, it allows you access to all of the instruments in the collection. So if you don't really know where you're going, you can start to look at things in terms of what sound it is and what kind of characteristics the texture has. So let's say I sit down and I go, I want something that's ensemble-like, that's really full. I can go down to characteristics, click ensemble, and then this will allow me to scroll through all of the different patches from all the different instruments and hear all of the ensemble-related patches. Awesome way to browse. Let's say you wanted to browse by instrument type. Let's say you needed a keyboard sound. We'd hit keys there. And let's say we wanted something that was bright, for example. First thing that I load up is an instrument from our Prophet sound. Another Prophet. Okay, cool. Now, another feature that I really like about Analog Lab when you're trying to beat writer's block and get inspired, they have this option of stacking your presets. So we've got a really hard kind of keyboard sound here loaded from that Prophet, that vibrato. Let's say I wanted to add some strings, some soft strings on top of that. I'd browse to my string section, and then I can just drag these presets right onto the second sample slot. Adjust the volume. Okay, so we've added this segment to the Prophet. Let's say I wanted to get rid of the Prophet now, maybe add an organ sound. Let's draw this family organ over. have full control over the panning of these instruments in case you want to widen things. And there's even a built-in effects section that has some really lush sounding reverb and delay sounds. Let's put a reverb on send A and a delay on send B. We'll send one of the instruments to A. The other one will go to B. Alright, so a lot of flexibility. Those macros are both assigned to each individual part, so you can go back and forth in between carving those individual pieces. I absolutely have to say, if you're talking about a wide collection of sounds that you can go through really easily, resize the menus of, and really experiment with, Analog Lab and just the whole Arturia V collection in general, it's been my go-to for the past couple of months. So take a look at it. This is the lab report. It's your boy Professor Sense signing off. Until next week. Peace.